Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine that one night, I would witness a murder and moreover, catch the attention of the murderer himself. I was on my way home from my workplace when I heard the town clock strike 12. I was too set on finishing my additional work to notice that it was almost midnight. Pulling myself together, I kept walking with the hope to reach home in one piece. When I was passing by the alley which is on my way home, I heard the cries of agony of a man. From the faint light casted by the street lamp, I could see the figures of two men. One of them was kneeling down and the other was pointing a gun at his temple. At that moment, I did not find my voice to scream. I couldn't run away too. I felt like my legs were rooted to the spot. It was all over within seconds. The sound of the gunshot echoed in the alley and the man who was kneeling sprawled out on the floor, with blood pooling around him. Even from afar, the sight looked gruesome. My breath hitched when I noticed that the murderer was looking at me. That was when I realized that I was no longer crouching down. Flight was useless. He could easily catch up with me. As he advanced closer, I could see him more clearly under the faint light and my heart began to pound wildly. "I guess I have to kill you too," he said, while pointing the gun at me. "You can, but I need a favor. Give me some time to write a letter and give it to the person addressed." "You can kill me then." "Who do you want to write a letter to?" "A very special person to me. I don't want him to think that I left without letting him fulfill his promise to me." By looking at his face, I knew that he was considering it. "I give you 10 minutes. Don't you dare try to escape," he said, and lowered the gun. On assuring him, I took out a paper and a pen from my bag. "Dear Eric Anderson, do you remember the time when we lived in our little village? The beautiful sunrise, the grass blades shimmering in the sunlight, the cool shade of banyan trees and the hilltop shrouded with fog early in the morning. I miss all of it. Do you miss it too? The memory that I have been treasuring more than them all is the last night we spent together. Do you remember that night? You took me up the hill and we watched the night sky together. It was embedded with tiny twinkling stars. It looked so surreal. There were millions of them that night. That night was the happiest moment I have so far. We knew that we might hardly see each other again, but we didn't speak anything about it. We just sat there in silence, drinking in the beauty of the picturesque starry night sky. The next day, when it was time for us to part ways, you gave me your last hug. I promise that we will meet again one day, and when we do, the starry night sky will be watching us, you whispered in my ear, and I held onto that promise. When I saw you standing under that faint light, I was scared at first, but then, I no longer saw a well-built man who shot a person without mercy. Instead, I saw my 12-year-old brother who watched the starry night sky with me that night. It hurts that you didn't recognize me, but it is okay. What matters is that I got a chance to see you again. Did you notice that the sky is starry tonight? I'm so happy. I love you, brother. A day didn't pass by without me thinking of you. Take care of yourself, brother. With love, Elena Anderson. Wiping away the tears that were rolling down my cheeks, I folded the letter and handed it to him. He was keeping it in his pocket when we heard the sirens. From the sound, we knew that we were getting close. His eyes widened in alarm. "I guess luck is on your side tonight," he said, and ran further into the alley. When I could no longer see him, I ran home. The next morning, when I switched on the news channel, I couldn't believe my eyes. Apparently, he surrendered himself to the police. Putting on my coat, I went to the police station at once. When I stepped into the cell that my brother was in, he looked at me with adoration. "I love you too, Elena. It is impossible for me to forget you. I wish I was there to see you grow up. I'm sorry for everything." "It is okay, Eric," I said, walking around. "What made you surrender?" "When I read your letter, I wanted to have a new start. I wanted to be the brother who played with you when we were kids." At that moment, my heart was filled with a warm feeling. I knew right then that my brother was not going to leave me again. "Then, it is a good thing," I said, with a smile making its way onto my face, "that I'm a lawyer.